Welcome to Nurture Our Nature Counseling. I'm Hilke and I'm a holistic counselor and wellness coach. And today I want to talk about supporting neurodivergent parents. Or parents in neurodivergent families, rather. And what's made me think of this is that the new school term here in Victoria has just started again. We're through the first week, but even in the school holidays, some of my clients were starting to get really anxious and worried about the new term starting, and now the first week's over, kids are getting stressed, and it is only the beginning of term 3, and it's just so stressful. And I think just because school can't has become more of a thing since COVID and lately, and I don't know all the causes either. Is it screen time, social media, just the pace of life, schools getting bigger and bigger? I don't know. But I know that in my family, when I still had school-aged kids, it could sometimes be a horrific amount of stress, and that stress is of course by the kids who are feeling so lost and so anxious and refuse to go to school because they can't. And then you, as the parent, sits there as the interface between your child, your home life, and society and school. And I think it's just such a nerve-wracking, exhausting position to be in. You know your child, you know what they can and can't do. You want to advocate for them, and still you are probably responding to what you have learned in your youth all your life. We know schooling's important and we have to do it, and it's the child who has to adapt to their school environment, and then there are the meetings with the well-being staff, with the teachers, and so and so's refusing to go to school again, and what can we do to make it a little bit, to make it a bit easier for them. And you're the one advocating, trying to make the impossible possible and get your stressed out, anxious, traumatized child back into the traumatizing, anxiety causing, stressful environment of school. And there are always positives about it. There is the social interaction. Your kid probably enjoys aspects of going to school. They probably love socializing with their friends, or have certain subjects they enjoy. They might like the routine, but it's all too much and they feel like a failure, and you end up feeling like a failure too. And this is exacerbated by our system. So when I was teaching a few years ago now, I haven't taught in maybe 8 or 9 years. I used to be in primary schools. I used to do a lot of CRT, so relief teaching at the end. So I've seen a lot of students and a lot of parents. And I've met so many different teachers in different schools, and I have always been surprised by how little is known in most schools by most teachers, even the welfare staff, about the true needs of neurodivergent students. And this lack of understanding is transferred then to you as the parent, because they know formula ABC to get your child back to school. And the solution is never radical. It is always get the child back to school, even though that is painful. So there are little accommodations to make the painful less painful, to make the kids be able, sorry, my English, is to make them able to stand school maybe for shorter periods of time. Maybe they get to have a path to walk around and regulate. And the answer is never to create an environment that suits our kids. And so they always end up being the failures. They just cannot do it anymore. And who gets to translate that? Who gets to work against it? It's you as the parent. And I personally know how exhausting this sort of advocacy can be, because you are juggling society's expectations, you are juggling how life should be, what a good little student should look like, and you are juggling your child's mental needs, their sensory needs, you're juggling their trauma, and you're juggling family life, and guess what? You also have a life yourself. And that is why I am so very passionate in supporting carers, because, and with carers, I mean parents who are also caring for the neurodivergent needs of their kids, the extra that's not just parenting that goes on in all families, whether they are neurodivergent or not. It's the caring is what you have to do on top of that. And yeah, but now we probably all know that neurodivergent kids don't just come out of nowhere. There is such a huge genetic component to neurodivergence. So probably you are dealing with your own sensory issues. You might have been masking your whole life. You might not have been aware of your own differences and divergence. And all of that comes into the mix. And there you are, and you never wanted to be a fighter. You never signed up to be an advocate. You just wanted to have kids and live your life, right? So that's what many of the clients I see are dealing with. And it's wonderful to be able to accompany them on their journey and to strengthen them. And I am not going to sit here and tell you that there is a one size fits all answer. I am not going to tell you that you only have to do X, Y, Z and the problem will be solved. But what I can tell you is that it can be incredibly empowering to listen to what is going on for you, not just your children, but you, what's happening in your family, what's happening in society, and what might be right for you. And then to come up with strategies that strengthen everyone and that strengthen your family. And there is a solution. There's always a solution. And it might not look the way that you expect it to look, or it might not look the way you want it to look. And there might be several solutions and compromises, but life is easier when you have a bit of a strategy and an understanding and an acceptance. And that's when your kids start to thrive. And that's when you can take a deep breath and come back to yourself and remember there's not just neurodivergence, there's not just school can't, There are not just meltdowns and outbursts and all the stuff you can't talk about. There's also you, and there's the you who you are and who you want to be. And there's your life. And in tiny little increments, millimeters and grams, you can get back a dose of yourself bit by bit. And that's what I'm here for. And I'm sure lots of other therapists are as well. So if you would like to have a chat, just book a session with me, or if you're not quite ready for that, book a free 15-minute call and we can chat about your situation and about what you might need and want. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you, and I would really love it if you like this video. Please show your support by giving a little thumbs up and by subscribing to my channel to help other women find me. Thank you so much. Bye bye.